Have you ever noticed those moments when we don't simply make a decision, but it feels as if an invisible energy walks into the room, places a hand on your shoulder, and turns the wheel? In these first 10 seconds, breathe slowly and recall a time you were pulled towards someone the way the tide draws the moon. Reason was still there, love was still there, and yet something older and deeper was speaking. Jung names these unseen presences archetypes and complexes, ancient psychic forms, living in the collective unconscious, that sometimes rise like a small sub-ego, so strong we feel taken over. Do you recognize that voice in you, gentle yet resolute, alluring yet mysterious? I'm not here to tell you that biology programmed you or that a single instinct controls women. That isn't Jung's voice, and it doesn't honor the dignity of human experience. A woman is not a puppet of hormones. She is a soul with history symbols, memory fractures, and rays of light. When a fierce attraction erupts and upends your familiar order, Jung doesn't reach first for genes or dopamine. He asks us to look with symbolic eyes. What in me is trying to live? What has been left in the dark asking to be named? Will you lean in to listen instead of rushing to self-judgment? Imagine the unconscious as an ocean. The surface is consciousness, plans, values, pros and cons. Beneath it move ancient currents. The great mother who nourishes and devours the lover on fire, the adventurer, the sacred child breathing under the waves. When life grows dry, when we've stood too long on safe shore, the unconscious compensates with a strong wave sending an image, a person, a dream that shakes us. Not to destroy, but to call us to grow. Are you refusing a living part of yourself so it has to return as a storm? My aim today isn't to expose some instinctual secret, but to help you notice a deeply human mechanism. When a complex is touched, it behaves like a little ego with a will of its own. We call that a complex. If you ever hear an inner voice that scolds, "You're too sensitive," don't make it a big deal. Know that it may be the negative animus in women or an old complex approval mother complex speaking through you. Don't crush that voice. Dialogue with it. What are you trying to protect? What would help you relax, properly heard? Judgment can change jobs from prosecutor to vigilant gatekeeper. That's the moment you stop fighting yourself and start protecting yourself. Let's set an ethical caution at the start. We'll talk about signs of covert hostility, but we don't claim the right to mind read or condemn. The goal isn't nitpicking, it's restoring your wholeness where kindness no longer equals self-erasure. So while observing others, we'll also face the mirror. Have I used sarcasm to hide hurt? Have I gone cold to a friend's joy because I was lost in my own failure? Owning our side is the fastest way to pull the thorn out of the relationship. 3 anchors for safety and clarity. First, distinguish 3 layers: fantasy, desire, and behavior. An image can be the soul's symbolic language. It never obligates you to act it out. Behavior is always a conscious choice guided by values, law, and clear consent. Second, we reject both extremes, neither reducing feminine sexuality to pure biology, nor chalking everything up to social construction. Jung teaches us to hold paradox. Inner life, it is a dialogue between nature and culture, the individual and the collective, the ego, and the larger-than-life images. Third, history has a context, fin de siècle. Vienna is not New York or Austin today. Our medical, ethical, power, and religious conversations have shifted. We need a humane, cross-cultural, contemporary frame to understand ourselves now. From here, to avoid the 2 extremes, groundless suspicion and naive vulnerability, we'll practice holding the tension of opposites, what Jung calls the transcendent function. So a third path opens clear eyes, soft heart. I'll give you clean criteria for when to address something directly, when to narrow contact, and when to offer a quiet goodbye. Not every relationship needs rescuing. Often what we need is clarity. And in the next section, we'll enter the first sign, a kind of politeness with thorns that often dresses up as humor, complete with 3 quick identifiers: 1 work and 1 family scenario, and a boundary line that's both firm and warm. We're not hunting witches, we're reclaiming dignity. On the way to recognizing another's darkness, you may meet a shard of your own light. My deeper wish, the desire in this dialogue, is that you long for inner sovereignty more than any passing high. No one should live like a boat dragged by the barbed hook of projection. When you learn to unhook, naming the complex spotting projection, inviting the animus to move from judge to guide, you don't kill attraction, you alchemize it into meaning. Then whether you stay or go, the choice arises from a larger, I no longer small and combative as when you were possessed. You'll feel the steadying presence of someone holding the helm. And now an invitation right here. Right now, small but sincere, place a hand over your heart. Take 3 slow breaths and whisper a warm, unviolent, animus sentence. I stand upright in my truth calmly. Open your phone or notebook and write one line. What in me is trying to live, that's all. No vows, no grand promises. One small act tells the unconscious, you're ready to talk, not to run. Do you hear the soft click of a door opening? 2 voices often argue inside us. One is tender, wants to care for everyone. Keep dinner warm, be the good one. The other wants solitude, a phone on airplane mode, and the clean power of saying no without apology. These aren't moral opposites. They're 2 currents of the mother archetype, nurturing and devouring, pulling us between holding and drowning, giving and demanding, blossoming and burning out. In this episode, we lay a simple map, loosen the mythic cloak from our personal mother, meet the mother complex in everyday American life, and set the stage for individuation, not to become the right kind of person, but to return to the self, the quiet center of our psyche. Jung's first map is merciful. Behind so-called crazy choices are archetypes, the old ocean currents in the collective unconscious, and complexes, the whirlpools shaped by our personal history. When a complex gets touched, it behaves like a sub-personality with its own will, a distinct voice, and a pull strong enough to bend our best intentions off course. So it's not that you're weak or irrational, it's that an unrecognized part has temporarily taken the wheel. A very human fold in that map is compensation. When your conscious life leans hard into order, calendars, control, clean lines, the unconscious compensates with the opposite, adventure, fire, mystery. That's why a hard-to-read person can feel like they carry a secret code just for you. They're not better. They happen to carry the symbol your unconscious is starving for. We mistake it for fate until we name it. Then we recognize it as a call to come home. 3 small American scenes. Maya, 34, marketing in Austin. Steady partner, Sunday dinners, kind routines. Then Evan appears, freewheeling, rock climbs, disappears for 2 days. A voice in her says, with him, I can feel again. Evan isn't an ideal life partner. He's the carrier of Maya's imprisoned vitality, the sacred child, and the wanderer she locked inside her calendar. She doesn't love Evan as much as she's starving for the lively part of herself he symbolizes. What part of you is he holding on your behalf? Jordan, 29, a nurse in Seattle. Quiet father, anxious, capable mother. She's drawn to cool, highly controlled men, feels oddly safe, like going home. That safety is the unhealed father complex. It's familiarity, not love. Next to a warm, emotionally available man, her body feels off, even bored, not because kindness is dull, but because her nervous system equates safety with cool, distant, firm. Freedom for Jordan isn't toughening up. It's retraining her body to feel safe with kindness. What does safety feel like in your chest opening? Or a fast thud with a clamp? Elena, 41, single mom in Miami. She froze arrows for years to keep the lights on. When her child starts first grade, a new colleague wakes color and music in her again. That wave isn't saying blow up your life. It's saying Eros needs a seat at the table. If Elena fuses the wave with the man, a complex grabs the wheel. If she sits down to dialogue, journaling, breath, and the question, what does Eros want in my life, not in him, she keeps sovereignty and still lets Eros live. Here the inner animus, the guiding masculine principle within women matters. Distorted. It's a harsh judge, not enough. Be extreme. Integrated, it's a calm navigator. Choose what has meaning. You don't have to kill desire. You channel it into direction. A good animus line sounds like this: I'll look more closely before I wager my heart. I'm worthy of depth. Eros and logos are Jung's 2 instruments. Eros bonds water. Logos differentiates shore. We don't pick water over shore. We learn to walk the edge, sometimes wade, sometimes stand, always awake. When Eros rises, don't slap reckless on it. Ask, where are you knocking in my life, and why is it dark there? When Logos speaks, don't turn it into a whip. Let it love Eros with boundaries, pauses, and truth. To step out of the push-pull, claim 2 safety anchors. First, separate fantasy, desire, and behavior. A dream of smashing a plate or running away doesn't make you bad. Dreams are symbolic grammar. Behavior stays a conscious choice anchored in consent and boundaries. Second, remember context. Family culture, faith, race, money. Archetypes are universal, but they show up in wildly personal ways. You're not wrong for being different. You're real. At a gentle freedom ethic, the unconscious may send waves. You have the right not to decide yet. Try the 48-hour rule for big choices. Reduce stimulation, text scrolling, increase awareness. Writing, breath, sleep. Freedom often begins with the ability to delay and practice warm boundaries. I want to go slowly so I can be fully present with this. If that feels too slow for you, it may not be the right time. Good boundaries don't trap people. They protect the quality of your presence. Now, 3 doors of the mother complex. See where you recognize yourself. Door 1, fusion. You only feel safe when attached. You fear disappointing others more than disappointing yourself. The usual moves: instant yeses over apologizing, pre-feeling for people. After a 9-hour shift, a coworker pings, "Can you tweak the deck?" Your throat dries, heart races. Your fingers still type, "Sure." In Jung's terms, the self has been hijacked by the mother mask. Boundaries blur. The task isn't to banish kindness, but to separate your personal mother from the archetypal mother so you can say yes when it's love and no when it's self-erasure. What one tiny boundary could you honor this week? Door 2, counter-identification. You build rational armor, conquer control at Captain every date and dinner. You exit the moment you might need someone. That proactivity is fear of being swallowed wearing a confident mask. The practice isn't surrendering all control, it's selective empowerment, letting animus sit beside anima instead of silencing her. Where could you share 5% more of the wheel? Door 3, oscillation. You swing between over-mothering and over-resisting. One week you feed the building, the next you ghost everyone. Rhythm helps here. One small daily, no more invisible labor. No overtime unless truly needed, and one small daily yes to nourishment. Aimless minutes outside, one authentic check-in. Small, steady rhythms slowly return the wheel to the self. What's today's tiny no and today's tiny yes? Don't forget the shadow side of attraction. We ban our own self-first impulse and get hypnotized by someone who lives for themselves. We disown anger and magnetize toward those who explode. Integrating the shadow isn't imitation. It's allowing a measured dose of a once forbidden quality. Permit a little healthy self-assertion and the arrogant lose their spell. Welcome a bit of clean fire and you'll need fewer hotheads to carry it for you. How do I sense the self's call versus a complex trick? The self widens and lasts, it nourishes multiple axes work. Health friendships, likes light, time, and truth. A complex is narrow and urgent, fixated on one thing. Needs it now avoids light and questions. Let this question hang like a wind chime. Does this make me larger? A quick cultural lens. In many U.S. workplaces, banter is normal, even bonding. But banter can slide into banter bullying when it targets identity or old vulnerabilities. Try a microdesk, describe the event. At lunch, when jokes about X came up, share impact. I felt myself shrink. Specify a request. Let's skip that topic and name the positive outcome so we can work smoothly together. Short, non-accusatory, enough data for a mature response. If jokes with thorns show up at home under the flag of "we've always been blunt," return to the body. Does blunt warm you or make you wince? You can be firm, gentle. I value straight talk. It doesn't have to hurt. Let's avoid the topics I've said are sensitive. You're not changing anyone's role. You're guarding the door to your inner home. 3 micro practices for traction. 1, mother mirror before a decision. Ask, if I do this to keep the peace, what's the cost? If I tell the truth, what's the gift? Write 2 lines, pick the smallest honest action. 2, the 1% boundary, add, or more clarity daily. I need 10 more minutes instead of silent resentment. Batch email in your chosen window. 3, broken bowl ritual. Draw a bowl, sketch a crack. Write 1, no. You'll honor this week, then trace the crack in gold. Healing doesn't erase the seam, it lets it shine. Which one will you try first? A brief pause to practice. Close your eyes for 20 seconds. hand over heart, and ask, what part of me wants to live through this person? Open your eyes and write one image: a flame, a door, a dirt road, a night sea. When a community names symbols together, projection loosens. The shadow doesn't like shared light. Will you share one image below? We don't deny the pull. We translate it from, that person is my destiny, to this is the part of me that needs life, from logic versus love to logos holding eros with truth and time. That's how you become more human, wider, deeper, warm-edged, yet well-bounded, capable of tenderness and of the sacred word no. Take one deep breath. We're stepping into the room Jung called the animus, the inner masculine voice within a woman. When it's distorted, the animus turns into a fast-talking judge. Critical, pushy, urgent. Do it now. Get it. Now. Prove it. Now. When it's integrated, the animus becomes a warm guide who speaks slowly and points to one doable step. Choose what is meaningful. You can tell which voice you are hearing by 3 cues: speed rushed versus unhurried tone, insulting versus respectful, and center ego display versus reverence for a deeper rightness. If you notice the judge seizing the wheel, don't crush him. Invite him to sit down. Pour tea, say I hear you. We'll go, but we'll go with light. At the Jungian level, strong attraction is almost never just chemistry. It's often projection, a forgotten part of you pinned onto someone else. Projection carriers tend to appear exactly when the unconscious is compensating for a life that's gone too dry, and we mistake that timing for fate. As you withdraw the projection, the other person returns to being a person, and the exiled quality comes home to you, where you can nourish it in real life instead of outsourcing it to a stranger's face. What quality do you chase in others that you're starving in yourself? Meet Riley, 31, a product manager in San Diego. She's magnetized by Theo, a guitarist with an edge who vanishes for days and speaks in half-truth jokes that spike her heart rate. Working with herself, Riley writes, what do I actually see in Theo? The answer jumps out: the courage to play big and to be imperfect, a quality she had before the KPI treadmill. So she doesn't cut Theo or leap into Theo. She returns the symbol to herself with 2 small acts: one weekly bad music session at home and one side project with no KPIs. The crazy-making intensity cools and becomes creative fuel. Her animus gets a new line: we dare to play, we dare to miss a beat, and we don't sell the soul. Monica, 38, a teacher in Phoenix, grew up with a pious, judgmental father. She chooses proper men who feel cold, and she's secretly drawn to brilliant rule breakers. In therapy, she sees her animus has dressed itself in holiness, a moralizing voice that makes her life narrow. The pull toward the outlaw is compensation. Her conscious life is too strict, so the unconscious sends an image of wild freedom. The solution isn't divorce or cheating, it's making room for lawful freedom, painting, dancing that philosophy course she's craved, and delightfully imperfect evenings. When Eris has a chair at home, Monica doesn't need to hunt for it in the street. Which forbidden freedom could you bring home safely this month? Add the attachment mom and the picture sharpens. The anxious often read unpredictability as passion. The avoidant often read warmth as threat. The secure still feel attraction, but keep their rhythm. Ask yourself, what does my body equate with safety? Steady warmth or thrilling ambiguity? Answers differ. But once you know your wiring, you can retrain it. Stay with steady kindness long enough for a new template to imprint. Deeper breath, relaxed shoulders, a quiet stomach instead of chasing adrenaline. What does safe feel like in your body? Open chest or tight flutter? Here the body becomes a compass. The unconscious speaks in somatic signals. Chest expansion is not the same as a racing heart with a clenched gut. Try a small ritual I call soul tea. Stop, pause for 10 seconds. Acknowledge, name the sensation: heat, cold, tightening, softening. Locate, place your hand where it's strongest. Take one step, choose one meaningful, small step instead of a huge decision. Repeat, say, elt, and the judging. Animus loses force. The guiding animus grows. We also have to talk about the shadow, the part you don't want to see in yourself. Shadow hides beneath most projections. If you don't permit healthy ambition, you'll be drawn to the arrogant. If you forbid righteous anger, you'll stick to the explosive. Integrating shadow doesn't mean becoming the bad guy. It means letting a small dose of the exiled quality return under discipline and kindness. Try this: write, "I don't allow myself to," and fill in 3 words. Then write, "I allow 1% of Washington to return through which harmless action today." Example, I allow 1% self-assertion by saying, "I'm staying in to rest tonight." When 1% returns, you're less hypnotized by the outside 100%. Which 1% of a banned quality could you safely welcome back? Warm boundaries are the bridge between eros and logos. A good boundary is clear and kind. I'm curious here and I need to move slowly to be fully present. If you're in a rush, it might not be the right time. That line doesn't punish or demand change. It protects the quality of your presence. And remember, the 48-hour rule: delay any decision that could crack your life structure for at least 2 sunrises. In those 48 hours, reduce stimulation, fewer texts, no stalking, increase awareness, handwriting, breath, sleep. Freedom begins with the ability to wait. What decision could you place inside a 48-hour window this week? Sometimes you're the bystander, a friend or sister watching someone get pulled by a wave. Logic rarely works when the unconscious tide is high. Instead of lecturing, mirror gently, "I see you glowing and also tired. What part of you is trying to live through this?" Offer presence, not judgment. Want a 20-minute walk? Want me nearby while you write? Warm embodied presence lowers a complex's counterforce. And with red flags, control isolation. Violence, choose safety. Before symbols, call a hotline. Find a trusted person, leave the dangerous space. Jung encourages responsibility, not fatalism. If you had to support someone tonight, what embodied offer would you make? Now a mirror for the community. If you're willing, drop one short animus sentence that helps you stand something warm, borrowable for someone else on a weekday. Or name a 1% shadow you're ready to welcome. 1% courage, 1%. No. Speaking it aloud lets the hook of projection fall off the heart a little. No one here is scoring. We're simply witnessing one another grow. Let's be practical too. America trains us to love speed, competition, and edge. Algorithms reward the sensational. That climate confuses eros with adrenaline. It's okay. We can reverse it by practicing a countercultural slow rhythm, a walk without headphones, dinner without screens, one handwritten page each morning. These small acts are the container that lets eros live inside the house. No need to smash walls. One more example to show real transformation. Harper, 36, a Boston founder that has driven life fast car hard brakes. She meets Armin, successful, cool, and blazing. Harper applies the trio salt, 48 hours, and deep projection. She writes what Armin awakens in her to be unowned. She returns that quality to herself through 2 commitments, 1 meeting free day per week and bringing art back in an analog photography class. Armin stays attractive, but loses his power over her spirit. When Harper reconnects with Marcus, the kind partner from before, she notices her chest opens instead of only a racing heart. That's the self-signature, wider, brighter, steadier. Where in your week could you build a container for unowned parts to come home? To deepen this segment in your video, you can add 4 practical blocks. A map to tell Judge Animus from Guide Animus Speed Tone Center, plus 3 sample lines that shift your voice in real time. A projection toolkit. The question, what of mine am I seeking in them? In a mirror letter you never send to the projection carrier. A somatic lab. 3 safety signals: open, chest, deep breath, warm belly versus 3 alarm signals: tight, jaw, cold hands, shallow breath. A community corner, invite comments with 1 animus sentence and 1% shadow to recall. Pin a few inspiring replies to cultivate a safe social field. If your heart feels both calmer and clearer right now, you're touching the border where eros shakes hands with logos. We won't stop at understanding. Next, we'll walk a 4-step practice: name the complex, withdraw projection, anchor in the body, and take 1 meaningful, small action alongside a dream vignette. The locked room in an old house to show how the unconscious speaks in images. Bring your notebook and a warm glass of water. We're about to turn on the light in a forgotten room. Not to accuse anyone, but to welcome the living part home. Are you still with me? I'll need you for the next step. We've talked about the animus voice and those projections that fly like invisible arrows. Now it's time to place both feet on the cool tiles of practice, where Jung invites us to look, to touch, and to choose. Picture yourself walking into an old house that is yours. The ground floor is daily habit. The second floor is memory. And at the top, there's a locked room you haven't opened in years. This chapter is the key not to smash things, but to bring in light and arrange what truly belongs to you. If you can grab a pen, we'll move slowly but with rhythm. First name, what's been driving the wheel, the complex. Remember, complexes aren't the enemy. They're little selves born from your personal history, a mixture of memories, wounds, and hidden longings. Try this exercise. Write one recent event that spiked your heartbeat, a text left unread, a challenging glance in a meeting, that feeling of being forgotten at the dinner table. Under it, record the body data, heat in the chest, cold hands, a tight belly. Then ask, what meaning did I assign? He doesn't need me. I'm not interesting. This marriage is over. Those 3 layers already sketch a map. Most of the time, the voice speaking at the meaning layer is a complex. And when you call it by name, this is my abandonment complex talking. Your heart loosens a notch, the way we soften when someone finally names us correctly. Second, withdraw the projection. I like to call this returning the painting to the painter. Write an unsent letter that begins, in you I see. List what you crave in the other, permissionless freedom, the courage to be unfinished, fire mystery. Then write, where has this lived in me? Since when was it banned? How will I invite it back into my own life? Tears may come not for them, but for you. Riley in San Diego did this. She scheduled one night a week to play unfinished, clumsy guitar, blurry film photos, and she set a KPI-free side project on her calendar. Strangely, the pull toward Theo stopped feeling like a commandment and turned into a signal pointing toward Riley's own life work. When symbols are brought home, the person who carried your projection becomes human again, lovable and limited, and you become yourself again, wider and warmer. Third, anchor in the body, because the unconscious speaks in muscle and breath before it speaks in words. When you feel swept away, try this tiny ritual anywhere at Starbucks or on your front steps, and make your exhale longer than your inhale. Gently turn your head and orient to 3 objects with clear edges in space: a sign, a table corner, a door handle. Soften your jaw. Rest the tongue lightly on the palate. Place a hand where your body is talking loudest often, chest or belly, and whisper a warm animus line, I choose to be here. You'll be surprised, your pulse drops, your field of view widens. Expansion is different from excitement. Expansion signals safety. Excitement mixed with contraction signals alarm. We don't scold the alarm, we invite it to sit beside us, wait for it to lower its voice, then we talk. Fourth, choose one meaningful micro-action, a 1-degree turn of the rudder that's enough to change the boat's direction. Here are 3 you can try within 48 hours. 1. A 1% return of shadow. If you've banned yourself from ambition, draft a short, courteous proposal email and send it. If you've banned rightful anger state, a warm boundary. Tonight I'm staying in to rest. 2. 1 new animus sentence shift, must win to choose what has depth, or get it now to go slow to make it true. 3. A lawful eros ritual. 1 screen-free dinner, an hour of candle-lit quiet, 1 song you used to love. Harper in Boston did exactly this: 1 no-meeting day a week, an analog photography class, and a rain check with a kind boyfriend, until her chest felt open, not just her pulse racing. Small moves stitch together a shoreline. The waves lose their power to drag you under. Jung keeps dreams at the center because dream is the mother tongue of the unconscious. Many report a classic dream, an old house with a locked room. Try a brief round of active imagination, walk to the door. Feel the cool metal of the lock and notice you have a key. When it opens, what's there? A dust-covered instrument, half-finished paintings, a half-open suitcase. Don't rush to interpret. Describe and feel. Then write, which object in the room calls me by name? If it's the instrument, maybe the musical eros needs life. If it's the suitcase, perhaps the traveler. In you wants a short journey, not necessarily toward the mysterious man, but toward the principle of movement itself. When you listen to the symbol, what used to feel like someone is controlling me becomes, I invite this part back in this specific way. For completeness and fairness, set a few non-negotiable anchors. Some red flags need no symbolism: controlling behavior, isolating you from friends, verbal or physical violence, financial threats. If you encounter those, priority isn't shadow work or animus analysis. Priority is safety. Call someone you trust, seek professional support, and leave the dangerous space. Jung's wisdom never excuses abuse. It gives language so you can see an exit. On the attachment level, the body needs time to record a new safety pattern. If you lean anxious, practice staying with steady kindness long enough for your chest to open without the jitter. If you lean avoidant, practice micro-intimacy 10 minutes nightly, 2 gratitudes and 1 fear with your partner. No fixing, no rebuttals. Both styles can grow more secure when the body's memory is rewritten through repeated micro-moments of safety. As secure grows, something curious happens. The mysterious, unpredictable person loses their halo, and the gentle, steady one begins to glow in a beautifully human way. A word to you, the one standing at a crossroads: don't rush to condemn yourself as immoral or unfaithful just because a wave pulled you off balance. Use these 4 steps as a temporary bridge to cross high water. If you're willing, share one short line with the community below the animus sentence you'll use this week, or the object you just found in your room. It might be the guitar, the suitcase, or the open window. Small pieces from many people knit into a warm map where anyone can come home without shame. And because we don't want it to stop at scattered insights, circle a 20-minute block in the next 48 hours, call it a date with the self. Bring a notebook, a warm drink, and write 3 lines. My complex is called, I'm projecting what onto whom. My 1% action will be, you don't have to do it perfectly, you only have to show up. Each date is a brick on the individuation path, the summons Jung believed every one of us carries. Wondering how to tell the voice of the self from the sales pitch of a complex when both speak the same sweet language? Feel the energy. The self is open, patient, unhurried, friendly to time and truth. The complex is urgent, narrow, and afraid of verification. In the next part, we'll explore another dream, a night harbor in an unnamed boat, to let that difference gleam on the water. We'll end with a sample dialogue for a partner or the person you're drawn to, how to be honest without harm, and how to set boundaries so Eros still has space while the home stays intact. If this stretch helps stay with me a little longer, we've turned the light on and we won't switch it off in the middle of the stairs. Let me tell you a dream many people bring to therapy as if it were a shared cipher, a night harbor, black water, gold lights flickering. You're on the pier silent, one hand on the mooring rope. Offshore, an unnamed boat glints and beckons, promising different winds. In the dream, sometimes you want to leap aboard. Sometimes you just stand there and feel your heart open like a window. In a Jungian key, the question isn't, should I go or stay? But what is the quality of the energy? If it's the self calling, you'll feel breath, a heart open to both peer and sea ripeness, mature, unhurried, and friendship with truth, willing to be honest with yourself and with others. If it's a complex possessing you, you'll feel narrowness. Only the boat exists. Urgency must go now, and fear of light, avoid questions, avoid witnesses. Right at this harbor, you can try placing a hand on the rope. I choose to remain here long enough to know I leave for meaning, not to escape. Back from the dream to daily life, I want you to carry 2 dialogue scripts, one for your partner, so Eros can come home, and one for the person who currently attracts you, so Eros doesn't crash into a wall. Both rest on Jung's principle, bring images and truth into light, so Eros and Logos can hold hands. You don't need to memorize, you need the tone, slow, warm, real. Script with your partner, bringing Eros home. Hey love, there's a wave moving inside me lately. It's not against us. It's reminding me that a lively part of me has no seat at the table. I want to tell the truth so we make more room, not less of each other. I miss that open-chested feeling when we take a night walk with nothing to fix. Can we give one evening to that? This week I'm asking for a small gesture candlelight in the kitchen, a song we used to love, 10 minutes to share. 2 gratitudes, 1 fear. I'm also committing to guard our home from the pulls that scatter me. We don't need perfection, we need presence. When you use this, listen to your body. If you feel spacious, shoulders drop deeper, breath, the self is near. If you tighten, slow down. Don't try to win an argument, keep the rhythm. Eros doesn't need sharper logic, Eros needs room. Script with the person who attracts you so Eros doesn't smash into a wall. There's something about you that stirs my curiosity. I want to honor that without damaging what matters in my life. So I'm choosing a slow pace, no late night texting, no quick promises. If we meet, it's daytime with clear purpose. If you need speed, this probably isn't our moment. I'm seeking what's right, not what's rushed. That sentence is a warm boundary. It doesn't shame Eros and it doesn't let the complex drive. It tells the unconscious, I hear the call, and I know the path goes through light. Save it in your phone to read when adrenaline tries to grab the wheel. To humanize this further, here are small but decisive crossroads. A 2 a.m. text from the person who makes your heart race, don't reply in the moment. Practice SALT. Stop, acknowledge, locate. Take one step. Maybe the one step is a reminder to journal for 10 minutes in the morning about what do I see in them that I'm hungry for in my own life. You are not killing the fire, you're moving it to your own kitchen. Catch yourself social media stalking. Exhale, hand on chest. Am I drinking seawater because I'm thirsty for fresh water? Write 3 lines is my fresh water. Recognition, adventure, or creativity. Pour a real glass text, a trusted friend. Thanks for being there. Book a small weekend trip, reopen the film photo project. Office crush eros mixed with power goes blind fast. Separate substances. If the person is up or down your chain, keep ethical rails, no closed door after hours one-on-ones, no sharing marital struggles without agreements at home. Eros doesn't die because of boundaries. Eros matures because of boundaries. To deepen the practice, 1 personal ethics compact. Write your Eros Logos Pact 3 lines. I don't deceive, I don't abandon myself. I honor truth even when it's slow. This is your anchor at sea. 2 relapse plan, because complexes return, pre-list your rescue team, a steady friend, 1 support group, 1 professional. Add 3 cooling acts, warm bath, 15-minute walk, 1 handwritten page. In storms, don't debate the storm, shelter well. 3. Attachment retraining nightly, 10-minute micro-intimacy, 60 seconds of eye contact, 1 gratitude, 1 fear, no fixing. The body needs repetition to rewrite safety. 4 weekly inner counsel, 20 minutes, invite 4 figures. Child mother animus shadow. Ask each, what do you need so I can live truthfully? Note short answers and choose 1% action for the week. This is how the self governs its kingdom. Give the journey a social shape, souls bloom in listening communities. In the comments, leave a 1 warm boundary line you'll use this week, or B, 1 line from your Eros Logos Pact. Share your harbor symbol too, the rope, the beacon, a coat on a chair. The chime. When we name symbols together, the dark loses its monopoly, and someone can borrow your line on the day they're weak. Let's widen the lens to an even subtler province of the shadow control, disguised as care and hallway whispers. On the surface, I'm only worried about you. I want what's best. Let me show you a safer way. But after the honeyed phrases, you shrink, doubt your compass, and hesitate at thresholds you once trusted. Jung would say, persona overworking to cover an anxious interior. The shadow needs outer order to soothe inner chaos, so it wears a coat called care. How to spot disempowering care. Your body tells you first collapsed chest, faint. Inner voice, foggy mind. Unsolicited advice, inventory. Style questions. Have you counted the risks? Who will own this emotional ultimatums? I can only relax if you do it my way or steering you with your old wounds. Last time you burned out, don't be foolish. Reasonable maybe. True not necessarily. Their old lesson doesn't get to be your new limit. A workday scene in the US you're ready to apply to product. Your current manager says I'm happy for you. To be safe, stay 1 more year, then move. He sends 3 links about career switch risks and suggests don't make life harder than it has to be. Name it clearly that serves headcount stability, not your future. His shadow fears scarcity, and the shadow speaks a language that makes you doubt yourself. A love scene control dressed as care often says, I want to protect you. A friend mentions hiking solo. Her boyfriend floods her phone with accident links, demands live location pings every 15 minutes, and urges, cancel. I'll take you somewhere safer. She thanks him and slowly stops planning her own days. Care that doesn't increase your capacity to choose ends up choosing for you. When the shadow lacks courage to face you, it goes sideways through whispers. In teams, this shows up as triangulation. A is upset with you, but won't speak to you. A vents to B, just to get it off their chest, and B becomes a pipeline. Tomorrow, C looks at you differently. Pull the story from hallway to round table. I'd rather we talk directly. If there's feedback for me, I'm open to hearing it from you. That one line declines the B-roll and invites adult dialogue. A family script. A relative shares concern about your sister. Instead of joining the triangle try, I hear your concern. It'd be better to say this to her directly. Want me to conference her in now shadows dislike direct light. This clarifies whether they want resolution or want the murmur to live. 3 light but potent tools. 1 BIF, brief, informative, friendly, firm for rumor mail. Thanks for letting me know. For clarity, here's what I actually did. Going forward, I'm happy to discuss directly. 2, the gossip interceptor. I'm comfortable speaking to A directly. I'll stop here. 3, group hygiene. No third-party talk when they're absent, or if work demands it, end with, who will pass this to A and by when? Putting words on the calendar drags shadow out of corridors. A broader frame, the Cartman drama, triangle victim, rescuer, persecutor. Control as care often plays rescuer. Whispers cast themselves as victim and label you the persecutor. The exit isn't swapping costumes, it's leaving the stage rescuer. Coach ask open questions, return agency victim. Creator choose the next small step. Persecutor, challenger set a clear, non-humiliating boundary. Try, what do you want to create here? And what's your next small step? Sometimes the whisperer is sincere, I'm honestly worried about her. Thank the goodwill then, ask, worried in what concrete action, direct talk help her find a counselor, carry some workload for a week, that's care. Tell more people to keep an eye on her, that's gossip in moral clothing. What can you do this week to lower the charge of control and gossip around you? First, reclaim naming rights. Write a 1-sentence sovereignty line. I am the final decision maker for my path and say it aloud each morning. Second, design. A trusted ring, 3 people with a history of empowering you. They ask open questions, don't rush to rescue. Share fledgling plans only with them. Third, calendar. A weekly 30-minute honest check-in with a key person, no social media, no performance. Just ask and listen deeply. Small practices, big steering. And hold the mirror to your own shadow to avoid moral superiority. Have you ever rescued someone to feel important? Told someone's story because your own feelings were hard to sit with. Write one instance hand on heart. I'm sorry. I'm learning to empower. When you soften your shadow, you're less magnetized by others' shadows. Return to the harbor dream. Some nights the unnamed boat comes close. Other nights it slips away. Don't rush to read it as an omen. Ask, have I named my own boat yet? The name might be freedom with boundaries, creativity beyond KPIs, or present tense closeness. When your boat has a name, if you leave the pier one day, you leave for something with something, not because someone pulled you. And if you stay for something with something, not out of fear or habit. True freedom isn't go or stay. It's knowing why and walking with both your shadow and your light. Before we close, a common moment. When the other person pushes for speed, you can say, what's beautiful here is the slow tempo. If I have to choose, I'll choose slow truth over fast feeling. If that discourages you, I understand, and it means our tempos don't match. That gives Eros substance, not a flash fire, but a kitchen flame. You deserve the kitchen flame. If this brings someone to mind, send them this video as a hand on the shoulder, not a verdict. And if you like, comment with a single line. The name of my boat is maybe Patience Awakening, or a funny private name, anything goes. We'll pin a few up top so anyone passing the harbor sees a light. Next time, the closing and the open door, I'll braid the strands, a 5-minute nightly ritual to take home a self-score with 5 criteria to gauge the breadth of a decision and a gentle invitation into individuation. You won't leave empty-handed. Each of us will carry a key to the upstairs room, ready to tuck the key into your pocket. The decisive stretch is just ahead. Imagine you're holding your own kintsugi bowl, golden seams where the cracks once were. Part 5 is the moment we place that bowl back on the table of ordinary life, not just healing within, but crystallizing into choices. Relationships, work, and art. Jung called this a turning toward the self, the calm, steady center, where opposites can stand together without devouring each other. From here, we stop trying to prove we're good and become keepers of the hearth, signing small truces between Eros and Logos, between the archetypal mother, the shadow Anima / animus, and the busy everyday world. Treat this chapter as the final bridge of the body where all the streams you've met, archetype, complex, animus, shadow attachment, somatics converge into one soul-guided way of choosing. Jung didn't ask us to decide, stay, or go from fear. He invited us to measure the quality of energy and let the self take the wheel. So here's a simple, subtle compass, the self-score 5 criteria. It's not math, it's a direction finder. 1 breath. Does this decision widen your life across several axes? Health, friendships, work, creativity, service. If one axis glows while 4 go dark, a complex probably grabbed the mic. 2. Light. Can you speak this truth before 3 key witnesses? A relative, a friend, and your journal self without hiding? The self loves daylight, complexes fear being seen. 3. Tempo. Is its energy patient or urgent? The self trusts time. Complexes demand right now. 4. Reciprocity. Is there two-way flow? Projection monologues, love dialogues. 5. Ground. Does your body open or contract? Do you sleep deeper after telling the truth? The self leaves bedrock. Complexes leave tremors. Score each line loosely from 0 to 10, then write a few sentences instead of crunching numbers. It widens because, where is the light? My tempo is... Nora in Chicago tried this before replying to a late-night text from an ex-breath. No less sleep, fewer friend nights. Light, I'd hide this from my sister. Tempo rushed. Reciprocity. He texts only when he's free. Ground stomach, tight. The conclusion wasn't don't reply, but if I reply, I'll do it in daylight, 1 honest line, and I'll tell my best friend. When the self has a chair, any choice costs you less of yourself. To make the self score more than words, tuck it into a 5-minute nightly ritual, short enough to do deep enough to reset your axis. Minute 1 body, sit upright, exhale longer than you inhale. Soften the jaw, hand on the loudest place in your body. Minute 2, 3 lines at event, feeling meaning. X didn't reply today. Chest hot, belly tight, meaning I assign I'm not enough. Minute 3 symbol, close your eyes for 20 seconds. Note what image arrives, dirt road. Window flame, write 1 word. Minute 4, 2 sentences, 1 warm animus line. I choose what has depth. 1 warm boundary line. I move slowly to be fully present. Minute 5, 1% action schedule. 1 small thing for tomorrow. A 10-minute call to a friend. A 15-minute walk, 1 handwritten page. A 5-minute desk reset. When 1% moves, the other 99% stops demanding instant resolution. A real-life sketch, Kayla 33. A nurse in Houston had a crush on a new coworker. That night, she did the 5 minutes event. He invited her to a pub, feeling excited plus cold hands. Meaning I'm special. The symbol that came was yellow light. Her animus line, I choose light first. Warm boundary. If we meet, it's noon and in a group. Her 1% text a close friend to go to morning yoga. Next day, she still liked him, but her chest felt open, and she didn't need to lie to herself. That's the self taking the chair. Now let's seal the leaks, places complexes sneak through. Prep a simple recovery plan because waves return 3. Rescue team friends' names plus numbers, 3 down. Down-regulating actions. Warm shower, brisk walk. 1 handwritten poem and 3 crisp mirror mantras. E.g., slowing down doesn't lose what's right. Light before feeling, a good choice isn't afraid to be seen. Marcus in Denver taped light before feeling above his desk. He says just reading it before an email kept him from sending a flirt he'd regret tomorrow. To widen part 5, hold 4 crucial boundaries. Safety if you see red flags, control isolation, insults, violence, prioritize, leave, call, ask, leave the space, call, someone trusted, ask a professional. Jung never used symbols to excuse abuse. Culture America worships speed, competition, and edge. Algorithms reward shock. Your body might mistake adrenaline for eros. Practice 3 deliberate slow moments each day. Eat without screens. Walk without headphones. 5 unhurried minutes looking at a tree. Attachment. If you're anxious, leaning, learn to wait without self-punishment. Wait in light, not in shadows. If you're avoidant, leaning, practice naming small needs. I need 20 minutes alone, and I'll come back. Ethics, write a 3-line Eros logos pact. I won't lie, I won't abandon myself. I'll choose the right slow over the wrong fast. From the vow, we translate the inner map into 3 bridges out into the world. Work a woman in Dallas was always putting out fires for her team. She once believed it was pure generosity. Now she sees the devouring mother's shadow in a dark animus nudging her into, I must carry it all. She taped a small mandala by her screen with 4 corners: earth, health, water, feelings, fire, goals, air, language. Each morning she sets 1 concrete act in each quadrant: eat lunch away from the desk. 10 minutes of sincere check-in with a colleague, a time-bound goal, a ready phrase to decline invisible labor. 6 weeks later, the change wasn't I'm no longer kind, but I'm kind with boundaries, less burnout ideas, heard more clearly, and most of all, self-respect for the life within her. Love a couple in Nashville practices. 3 chairs every Sunday night. The Anima chair to name desires for the week, touch, talk, play. The animus chair to set the frame, time, language, pull back signals. In the self chair to choose 1 small ritual they can do right away. They used to fight over the equation silence equals rejection. Now they ask, do you have bandwidth for closeness tonight? If not, they set another time. When Logos gives Eros a calendar slot, the flame warms instead of burns. Creativity, a screenwriter in Los Angeles, was paralyzed by the inner judge teacher. He invited the silent teacher for 20 minutes each morning. Instruction: write 3 bad scenes, then delete them. That's the hand-washing ritual. When he stopped trying to be brilliant from line 1, the story began to breathe. Jung would smile when the shadow gets a safe practice field. Talent once buried under shame returns like a spring. A crucial widening here is inner ethics, not a punishment code, but a lantern for walking through the night. Draft a short self-charter. I will honor my body. I will speak truth with warmth. I will not use silence as a weapon. I will agree only to what I can keep. The charter isn't designed to please others. It guards the dignity of Eros and the humility of Logos. When you misstep, as we all do, return to the circle, hand over heart. Where do I apologize? What needs forgiveness? What did today's symbol try to teach me? That's not stiff moralism, it's psychic hygiene. The subtle sign that started showing up for many of you, flat congratulations, in the body's truth. You text a close person, I got it back comes, congrats, period. No question, no lingering. You'll remind yourself they're busy until the pattern repeats. When you're ill, stay strong, then silence. When you win, topic change. Mind bargains. They're good people. Body won't, chest tight, throat dry, back of the neck. Cool. Your body isn't demanding fireworks. It wants the real warmth of presence. In that moment, the task isn't to defend them. It's to become the gentle gatekeeper of your light. I'm allowed to stay here a bit longer. Read the body without turning life into a courtroom. Watch 3 gentle planes breathe eyes, shoulders. Some awkwardness is harmless. Some pulls you down. Your job is to tell the difference and set a boundary accordingly. Picture Friday night, a Ray's email still warm in your inbox. At the old bar, the table cheers and clinks, but one friend hijacks the conversation with their deadlines and boss. You watch the foam on your beer collapse and quietly feel like I'm being a bother. Name that signal. No speech needed. Just pull the light back. I want to stay with this win a bit. Give me 2 minutes to share the road it took. If the space is safe, bodies turn toward you. If not, you've learned where your life's energy is and isn't respected. Community call. If you're willing, drop 1 of 3 things in the comments. No, warm animus sentence you'll use this week. 2, 1 line from your Eros Logos pact. 3, a symbol that just visited yellow light anchor line window. We'll pin a few so anyone passing by can borrow a sentence when their heart is shaky. We judge no one. We witness each other. One piece often forgotten: repair after a decision. If you sent a text that rattled a bond or agreed to a plan that now feels wrong, practice repair in 6 steps, or reflect what I did, what I felt. E, explain truthfully, short without excuses. P, place boundary, the new limit. O, ask what's needed to mend if it's with a partner. I, integrate, fold the lesson into your pact. R, rest, let the nervous system settle. Don't act while you're still shaking. Example, last night I replied to a late night text. I felt lonely and tired. I'm choosing not to continue that style of texting. What matters to me is staying in the light. If you're disappointed, I understand. That's Logos holding Eros, no blame, no pretending, taking responsibility. For a light but durable 30 day reentry map, week 1 practice, return. Pause 3 times a day for 60 seconds. Breathe ground, ask, who is speaking in me? Week 2 practice, language, prepare 3 boundary phrases. Try 1 per day. Week 3 practice ritual, 1 15-minute dream/mandala session, then a 24-hour action that honors the symbol. Week 4 practice transmission. Write a short letter to me 6 months ago, share 1 piece of your journey in the comments, and if safe, invite a partner or relative to try the 3 chairs. After 30 days, you haven't become someone else. You simply stand taller in your own life. If you hit red alert, prolonged insomnia, panic, trauma, flooding, self-harm thoughts, set self-guided practices aside and seek professional support. Crystallizing isn't white-knuckling it alone. It's letting community and clinicians be the outer terminos while the inner one is in a storm. You are always worthy of safety. You might wonder, how do I know I'm touching the true self, not just a more sophisticated ego? Signs of the self are plain spacious but not hollow, warm but not hot, clear but not sharp. Less inner arguing. The inner voice lowers and slows. The body softens yet remains capable. A longing for home. Love without performance. A room within you that welcomes morning light. Yes, there are still rainy days, but now you know how to build a fire. If you're at a crossroads, leaving or staying, I don't have your answer. But the self-score plus 5-minute ritual plus pact plus recovery plan will clarify the picture. Clarity brings a strange gift. Whether you go or stay, you grow. That feeling is individuation, quiet, steady, small and even like a kitchen clock in a warm house. Before we close part 5, do one small thing. Open your phone and book a 20-minute date with the self within the next 48 hours. Title light before feeling. Contents, self-score, plus 5-minute ritual, plus 1% action. That's it. Cafe, car, before home, or on the stoop at dawn, you'll be surprised how one date can turn a whole week. And here's your bridge into what comes next. We'll end with a short nightly 5-minute ritual, printable for your fridge, a tidy 5-box self-scorecard, and a gentle invitation to go further but slow. Unlock one more room in the old house than another. In the conclusion, I'll place my hand in yours and repeat the essential thing. Freedom doesn't come from dodging waves, but from learning rhythm. If you're still here, I know you already carry a key. Let's use it now softly but decisively. At the end of today's road, pause for a breath like a traveler at a night window. Outside, the street is quiet. Inside, the kitchen is warm under a golden lamp. You've walked the turns of archetype and complex animus and shadow. You've watched the old hooks of projection drop from the heart like little fish hooks you no longer need. What remains isn't a verdict to stay or go, but a new quality of presence. You know how to listen to your energy name. Invite it to the table and open the right door for it to enter life with light. Jung doesn't promise a forever calm shore. He invites us to learn rhythm. Go slow, look deep, let the self take the wheel. If you remember only one line from this video, let it be light before emotion. Tell the truth to yourself before you tell it to anyone else. Give Eros a room in your house, not a banishment to the street. Let Logos hold Eros with time boundaries and a promise you can keep. Freedom doesn't come from dodging waves. It comes from reading the water and riding it with a body that breathes, a heart that opens, and a mind that can wait. Tonight before sleep, try a 5-minute ritual, light as a hand on your shoulder. Sit upright and lengthen the exhale. Write 3 lines. Event. Feeling, meaning an I sign. Close your eyes for 20 seconds to let a symbol visit. Write 1 warm animus line and 1 warm boundary line. Choose a 1% action for tomorrow. 5 minutes can change the map. A week can teach your body a new safety. A month can outline difficult decisions as clearly as a doorway at dawn. Repeat it, and you'll notice something gentle. What once dragged you around becomes a source, not a shackle. And if you slip, one day, send a midnight text, agree to a plan that feels wrong in the morning. Remember that adult life doesn't demand perfection. It asks for repair. Breathe, reflect, speak a short truth, set a new boundary, learn the small lesson, then rest. Complexes prefer the dark. Invite a witness, a calm friend, a safe group, or a professional. No one is meant to walk this stretch alone. Jung calls it individuation, but never isolation. Let's anchor this with one gentle commitment. I won't shrink myself to keep the peace. I'll keep the peace by not betraying myself. From here, 3 simple, deep practices. 1. Body compass before, during, and after a meeting. Track 3 signals, chest open or closed, breath deep or shallow, mind clear or foggy. 2. A 90-day log, 5 quick columns, who, context, behavior, timing, impact, so you see patterns instead of living by impressions. 3 kind boundaries, short, warm, specific. I value playfulness, but when we joke about X, my body tightens. I don't want that kind of joke anymore. Keep it brief, no moral labels, enough for decent people to adjust. Jung reminds us where the opposites meet, a third way opens. So this isn't a call to cut off or to endure. It's an invitation to hold the tension of opposites, like an adult kindness with truth, softness with limits, listening with choosing. From that stance, worthy relationships grow warmer. The unready ones step back, no warfare required. To widen your path, add 4 pieces, 10 minutes of active imagination each week. Write a dialogue with the inner prosecutor. What are you protecting, and help it become a gatekeeper? Sunday remothering. I see you, I trust you, I protect your time, then pick 1 nourishment, must 1 boundary for the week. Biff desk for hard talks. Brief, informative, friendly, firm. Describe emotion, suggestion, consequence, and a ring of trust. 3 people with a track record of empowering you. Bring fragile plans to them first. These turn knowledge into muscle, the strength we need in real life. Also, 1 ground ethic, don't diagnose an entire life from a few signs. Use the 3x3 context rule before concluding. Distinguish the merely awkward from the shadow that drags you down. And when it's beyond your depth, violence, severe manipulation, mental health crisis, seek a professional. Insight isn't a weapon, it's a flashlight. Use it to find the path, not to blind each other. Because modern life carries us away. Here's the 7-line journey. A tiny morning litany, 1 minute that can orient your day. Whisper it, journal it, or tape it to your mirror. Today I return to the center. I honor my body as a speaking temple. I distinguish imagination, desire, and action. Every action comes with consent and respect. I speak the truth in a warm, clear voice. I set boundaries to protect what I love. I listen to symbols, dreams, images, intuition, and turn them into small, 24-hour actions. I pass on what is good kindness to myself and to 1 other person today. Live with these 7 lines and the self stops being an idea. It becomes the rhythm of your steps, the way you open a door, the way you say no as a deeper yes to what is worthy. If you lose your way, as we all do, treat it as a message, not a verdict. Return to a 15-minute circle. Write 3 imperfect sentences. Draw a small circle. Place a hand over your heart. The hearth doesn't blame you for being away. It simply waits for your return. Before you leave the screen, make a 20-minute appointment with yourself in the next 48 hours. Title it, Light Before Emotion. Sit in your car before walking in, or in a quiet cafe, or at the kitchen table. Bring a notebook and write a 5-part self-score, a few lines each. Breath, light, rhythm, reciprocity, steadiness. Then choose a 1% action. We've said all along, small isn't weak, small is durable. 1 wild arm swing can make a big wave. 1 right breath can change the wind. Carry 1 picture from today, a harbor at night in a nameless boat. You're not dragged by a boat. You name it and choose the day to sail in light. You're not knocked off the pier by waves. You learn the seasons and read the sea. You're not alone in the dark. There's the wind chime of community, the glow from other windows, the warm animus line in your pocket. I choose what has depth. If you forget, one day come back here. We'll light the lantern with you. And if you have a second, leave a single word as a mark. What's your boat's name today? Patience, awake, boundaried peace, or a secret name? Only you know. I'll read every word and maybe pin a few so those who arrive later can find a spark for their night. If this met you where you are, subscribe and turn on the bell, not to count numbers, but to keep a steady rhythm for the soul each week. A circle, a story, a 5-minute ritual, a dream vignette. Drop a like if any part helped you breathe. The algorithm will carry this flame to those who need it. And if you know a friend, a sister, or a colleague standing in rough water, share the video. You might be the temporary bridge they need. And if a quiet question is whispering, how much can I really change? Jung's answer is humble and steady. One just enough step for today. One clean breath, one clear boundary, one sincere touch, one dream pun, one rough mandala, one 5-minute living dialogue, one small no to protect a larger yes. Repeated just enough make the footpath back to center where you don't have to prove you're worthy. You know this life was given to be lived, not graded. Keep one image for the road, a bright, small center, a gentle bridge, or a kintsugi bowl resting in sunlight. Let it follow you for a day. When you're lost, look back at it. When you're joyful, invite it to sit beside you. Symbols are the mother tongue of the unconscious. Honor that language, and the unconscious will honor you.